Welcome to Extra2 here at CUZZO-OP. This is a second installment of our Extra series, which we started during the Star Wars month of May. Go back, scroll back. I think it was about the second or third week. But anyways, it's a new way for us to bring content to you that may not have fit in an actual episode. We've got a Pixar episode out that you should go and listen to as we talk about all of the different Pixar movies that Disney has put out. But there are tons of Pixar shorts that we want to dive into tonight. But before I get ahead of myself, let me stop and say my name is Isaiah, also known as IV, and I am joined by my cousin and my brother,
Willie, also known as Arrow to the Face.
And we're excited to jump into these shorts because everybody can remember at least one Pixar short. Everyone can remember one that you saw, you got your popcorn lit, you might have bodied your whole popcorn by the end of the short before the movie even started, you know what I mean? Like, we all have something we remember. And so it'll be fun to kind of jump back, talk about 4 or 5 different shorts from each of us that we appreciate, why we appreciate them, and overall what they say for us about us being Pixar fans in general. And so, Willie, I'm gonna let you take the first. I'm gonna let you start off. I know you were excited about this episode because there are a couple that you've been meaning to talk about. So let's get this thing jumping.
Right. I mean, first things first, for shorts, these things have been being made for a long time, way before even the first Pixar fully feature film. They were making shorts.
That's right.
And there's different areas of shorts. There's shorts that just are literally what they are, short stories. But then there's the shorts that have characters from the full movies that they make and they put in as after epilogue sequences or things like that, or tie-ins to the movie. So we're hitting all of them. We're not just hitting the Pixar outside of their movie shorts, right? So for me, I want to start off with, and all 5 of mine they're all kind of different. I specifically chose 5 to talk about, even though there's so many, that all represent something different for me. And so the first one that I kind of want to go with here is a classic that I'm not even going to say has oh, wow, that's a deep meaning or anything like that. I just want to talk about the classic, Tin Toy, bro.
Yeah, it's an OG.
Tin Toy.
Tin Toy, classic.
I remember watching Tin Toy a lot. And for some reason, I mean, what is it? It's just a fun, maybe animation demo for Toy Story. I don't even know when Tin Toy came out.
I would say that's a good way to put it. It's an animation demo for sure.
Right, 88. It came out in 88. And so that's, 7 years before Toy Story. And it's an animation demo. And it's that wonky Toy Story look to it that I'm like, all right, I see where you guys are starting. Sure. It's just a toy banging on his drums. I mean, go watch these shorts. They're all available on Disney Plus if you have it. Just the dude banging on a drum and then hiding. And then all the other toys look at him and push him out. And he's just like, oh no. But then he manages to keep the baby chill. And, so it's just classic. It's a classic short that's all I really have to say about it. So
I'm pretty sure there's an Easter egg of him in another movie. I just can't remember which one it is.
Pixar, we didn't even talk about Easter eggs
in Pixar, which is almost criminal. We should be put on trial for that, respectfully.
Listen, it was our longest CUZZO-OP episode. So, I mean, go back, check it out, flip through, find your favorite movies, but it's the longest one. We did every movie.
Shout out to the timestamps. Go on YouTube. Anyways, yeah, man, that's a great way to start too. I think for me, I'm gonna take all the 1990s kids. If you was born in 95 or later, you're gonna know what I'm talking about over here. You know what I mean? Something but Boundin. Do y'all remember Boundin? When my boy Lamb as the jackalope, when he sings a song, he's like bound, 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 every bound. Everybody, it aired before The Incredibles came out. So it's 2003. And I used to love this one. I used to feel bad for the lamb that got shaved naked in the short. Emotional response as a child. But I just loved the way that the story is narrated by this character that's jumping around. And it's just one of those childhood Pixar shorts. It made an impression, and I used to run it back when we had this on DVD. I would run it and play it all the time. And yeah, Brad Bird, I feel like Brad Bird knew that this would be a good way to start off The Incredibles. And almost some of these shorts feel like completely from a different world before a movie, but this just somehow felt right before the action-packed, fighting, bouncy, springy spy vibe of The Incredibles. It felt heartfelt. That's why I love this one, and that's why I chose this as one of my favorites to go through. But boundin, you know what I mean? Boundin. For those want to look it up, you'll find it in the Pixar short collection.
Yeah. So I mean, up next for me, I'm gonna take it to their canon worlds and their canon movies. Another one of my favorite shorts, not necessarily have any meaning to it, just a fun thing while you have the actors in the booth, is following Monsters Inc. Mike's new car. I don't know. It's nostalgia right here. Just watching it earlier, I'm like, just watching them in the car, and Sully's hitting all the different buttons and it's bugging the car out. And, at this point with Monsters Inc. being the only one that's out, you get the feeling throughout the entire movie that Mike Wazowski always gets kind of like the short end of the stick,
yeah,
compared to Sully. And so Mike's like, I have something for myself. And Sully's there just messing it up. And then Mike, he just hits that moment of frustration. He's like, get out of my car. He's like, what? Get out of my car. Kicks him out, goes to drive away, and then just loses his car. But just watching them two, I mean, again, we're talking about a top 5 Pixar movie for me here.
Yeah,
just a little bit more of an adventure for them. It was great for me to just watch that and see, and fun time. These shorts, they have the meaningful shorts and then they're fun shorts. And this is definitely one of the fun shorts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when they keep those characters around that you already see meaningful stories to, I also feel like those are meaningful too, even if they are fun, because it's just great to see them on screen. Like you said, I remember that one too. That definitely made an impression on me as a kid. So that's a good choice. Next one for me is The Blue Umbrella, 2013, before Monsters University, actually. The reason why I love this short is not just because of the love story told between a red and a blue umbrella. Blood, Crips, they tripping, they gang, the set is crazy right now. But all that being said, there's an underlying story as well between the two people talking that are holding the umbrellas. And so I love this idea of personification that they get through the animation. One of the reasons why I love this one, though, is just because it's super beautiful. Not only is it taking place in what feels like a city street of New York, and honestly, it kind of also looks like Chicago or even a little San Francisco or even a little Paris, but they created this city feel, and you feel it from the beginning. As somebody who grew up in New York, parents from New York City, Arrows in New York City, I just love city, and I think they captured that in The Rain really well. And it doesn't have dialogue. There's no dialogue in this short. And I think that when you can get that beautiful flow of a story without speaking, that's stuff that Pixar is really great at in these shorts. They've done this time and time again. So I enjoyed this one just as a great launch off for Monsters U, which was in my top 5 as well. So shout outs to Monsters, shout outs to Mike, shout outs to Sully, my G. But yeah, that's a good one.
I love your connection there. Listen, since you brought that up, I'm just going to sit here and say, if you haven't seen Robot Dreams, I think...
Yeah, I need to see that.
Robot Dreams, it just released in the United States in theaters maybe a week or 2 ago. And I saw it a few months ago. And everything you just said about no dialogue, building the richness of the city, it doesn't look like what you were just talking about with The Blue Umbrella. But Robot Dreams is spectacular. It's one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie I've seen so far this year. But I guess you'll have to hear my thoughts about Inside Out 2 soon.
Take a listen soon.
But speaking of Inside Out 2, my next short is Riley's First Date.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
And so with Riley's First Date, I mean, Inside Out was my favorite movie that I watched of 2023. Not from 2023, but it's my favorite movie I saw last year out of the 500 I watched last year. And to go into this short, after the like emotional high of that first movie, seeing like, all right, what are they cooking up here? What's this? What are we doing here? And this short had me thinking about things like parents dealing with their children during their firsts. And so we have Riley, and I think they encapsulated all sides of the coin here really well. You
Mm,
got the 12-year-old boy who comes in and he's just like oblivious. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care
whatever.
about life. And his emotions reflect that. They're just like a skate park. Um, the dad who wants to be like protective of his daughter. So he's like, what's your plans here? And he's grilling him. I don't want to like him. That's what all dads say. I don't want to like the kid.
Right.
The mom who's trying to make that bridge with her daughter by trying to be cool, but it's kind of embarrassing, and it's embarrassing Riley. And going into the head space and all the emotions of all the other people that isn't Riley, it's cool to see how different everything is, how different his theme park is, and how the
Yeah.
dad, they all wear the mustache, and it's always interesting to see who takes the command center's middle point.
Yeah.
But what I also noticed, having the helpful inside knowledge of Inside Out 2 and the plot and the characters, is that in this specific short, I am gonna have to go watch Inside Out and see again, but in this particular short, it's interesting that the dad's core memories have the colors of some of the characters from Inside Out 2.
Mm,
So I'm wondering, like, ooh, were they cooking? Because
mm.
Riley, the balls were specifically shaped and colored to be like
Those
yellow and
five.
green or
Right.
blue and red. But the dad had like a light blue and like a purple and like an orange. And so I'm here like, ooh, did they know that? Okay.
I didn't
So
even notice that. That's hard.
that was cool. But then it was also
Sneaky.
cool just to see like the dad found that connection with the man, with the kid, and so
Yeah.
now he's kicking it with him downstairs, embarrassing his daughter, and the mom's just like, all right, we got to be brave and send her off on her first date, and then the parents get to have their connective moments. I think it's just beautiful. I think that's the message, like all the small messages, parents coming together for their kid, and then the kid going off on her own, and they're like, all right, we got to protect her, but from this distance, and we gotta watch it, but from over here. We
Yeah.
can't go over there.
Yeah.
So I mean, Riley's first date is cool. Is a cool short.
Heck
And
yeah,
it has
bro.
me more excited for Inside Out too.
Now that's pro tip stuff to look out for with the dad. I'm definitely gonna go back and watch it now.
Yeah,
100%.
you got to.
Fire. All right, going on to my third here. I'm gonna go to Lava. Shout outs 2014. Moana. I said earlier with Boundin that I liked Boundin before The Incredibles. I loved Lava before Moana. Why? Well, this is one of the musical shorts. This whole I have a dream that one day will. What is it? Well, one day comes true that you're here with me and I'm here with you. I love that song, bro. The whole "I lava you" concept. My girl and I were saying "I lava you" to each other for like a while when we were first dating. But this whole idea that is actually tied together to the concept of tropical islands and volcanoes and how they're formed through these eruptions, and then the cooling of the lava creates land and stone. And it was cool to see these ideas, and then where it resolved, where he's big enough and grand enough to be able to be with the one that he loves as an island. The personification's cool, but the music, bro, the music just gets you ready. It gets you ready to hear Lin-Manuel kill everything on that soundtrack with Mark Mancina. Like you remember the song. That's definitely what you take away. I remember walking out of the theater still singing the song, even though I had heard a ton of other songs from Moana. So just a really adorable story. And I love the light shed on Hawaii and just the Polynesian culture too. This short was just fire. So Lava is definitely one of my favorites from Disney. I mean, from Pixar, hands down. Hands down. It's probably like top 3.
Wow. I mean, we spoke about Pixar doing their research to just make what they're making seem
Heck yeah.
even cooler, right? So I mean, they was really cooking, bro. They was really cooking. I'm gonna let you take your next one. I'm gonna let you go here for a specific purpose. There's a reasoning behind my madness.
Say that. My next is taking it back to 2004, back to The Incredibles, and instead of it being a short that was before the film, shout out to Boundin, it's actually one of the ones that was included in the DVD pack. You could play this only if you had the DVD of the movie. That's Jack Jack Attack, right? We get an opportunity to see. I think her name is Kari, is the babysitter, and how she gets to tassel with Jack Jack as his powers are activated. We see that storyline between the Incredibles coming home and then Jack Jack fighting Syndrome up in the air, everything that happens before then with the babysitter and then when Syndrome appears. I love that they filled this, and I love the way that they started it, right? You get Rick in the interrogation room asking her for the story and then eventually wiping her brain away with the Men in Black type plunger. But just a great opportunity to see Jack Jack go off. He's multifaceted in his powers. They brought back the charm of this. This short was so popular that they adapted everything that was in this short for the squirrel fight in Incredibles 2. Like I'm 100% positive that we wouldn't have had such an epic fight with that squirrel if we didn't see Jack Jack Attack be such a favorite short. So if you're a kid and you grew up watching The Incredibles, you know about this. You know about him turning stone, turning into a red demon, turning on fire, flowing through it's just fire, bro. They did a great job with this one. And I love that Brad Bird got to get a little bit more off his chest. We all love Brad Bird here, right? He's one of the best out there with Pixar. So really love this short for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what this short did was we see the transition as it goes to Incredibles 2, and we start Incredibles 2 off similar to what they did with the babysitter in this short. They're like, all right, Tony at the end of the last movie saw Violet without the mask, because when she's putting the mask on, they do the whole thing. All right, we're going to do the interrogation. We're going to set it up the same. Now, it might be new for some people. Well, if you saw the short, then you know what's happening here. You know what's about to happen to Tony. Boom. Incredibles 2, they separate Jack Jack from the rest of the family again in the movie. So what do we get to get? Another glorious short, Auntie Edna, focused on some iconic characters from this franchise.
Facts.
Where Auntie Edna, we see in the movie, she has this fascination with Jack Jack when she's like, I'm not the babysitter, and then he starts bugging out where he teleports, and she's like, you can go. And then we see like when he goes to pick up Mr. Incredible, Jack Jack at the end of the day, she's like, I love this little darling. We get to see what happened that night. All the crazy monster he turned into chasing her around, and then she got to go and protect herself and combusting in the flames. And we know that she's the suit designer for the Incredibles. So we're like, she's going to cook up. She's going to, she's watching to see what kind of craziness she's got to put into this suit that we get to see the effects of in the film. Yeah. But we focus on Edna. We all love Edna mode.
Absolutely. Shout out Brad Bird.
Shout out to Brad Bird. Jack Jack is adorable. I'm telling you, I need this Incredibles 3 where they go into the future so we can maybe get him as a kid, Dash's age, or maybe even a teenager. Maybe he's a villain, bro. Who knows what they could do, bro?
Hey, don't villainize my man. You wildin'. You wildin'.
Bro, they could go with the twisted like bad mentor turning him against his family as he's rocking through the teenage. They could do stuff. Or he could just be the Superman of the group. You know what I'm saying? But either way, his powers are interesting. I've always loved to focus more on him and see all the things he's capable of. And then Edna mode, bro. So these two back to back, you see why I had to go first, bro? Come on. Absolutely. I had to do it.
Fire.
But now I'm going to take it again from you.
Please go. Show your last.
I'm actually going to bring two more to the table.
Say that.
Because I want to hit super deep meanings not connected to any franchise. So I want to start off with Out. Now, for Out, it's under their like Spark Shorts category. Out, I haven't had a lot of time with to sit and digest. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I felt a lot from it, but I thought about it a lot. Out is a short about a man who is gay and he's scared to come out to his parents. And I'm talking grown man. He's moving across the country with his boyfriend, but his parents don't know about him. And so
I didn't see this one yet.
He's about to move, and his boyfriend walks out because the parents show up to help him move. And he's like, oh man, I'm scared to tell them. So he lets his mom, and he's like, Mom, you're only allowed to go to the kitchen because in all the other rooms of his house, he has pictures of him and his boyfriend that he's tried to hide and stuff. Mom's like, okay, the dad doesn't talk. He's just, the dad is very dad. The dad is very, like, he's like, hi, dad. He goes, Um, so at some point throughout this short, the main character, he turns into his dog because he thinks that life would be easier as a dog.
Mm.
And the dog turns into him. And so he starts to bug out, and he goes out to his mom. He's like, hey, Mom, I need your help. But he's sounding like a dog. So he's just barking and barking. And she tries to speak to the son, but he's the dog. So the dog walks away inside the human body. So she thinks he's mad. So she goes outside, and she's like, I wish he would talk to me. I wish, and she's now talking to her son, but he's in the dog's body, so she doesn't know. She's like, I wish he would talk to me. I don't understand why he won't talk to me. And he's just listening to his mom speak because he has nothing else to do. And she's like, I just know that one day he'll be happy, and he'll find somebody for him. And whenever he finds someone for him, I know that the person he finds, he is going to be great. And so what she verbally states out loud is, I already know my son is gay. And so it lightens him up. And then he's like, oh, I don't want to be a dog. And he switches bodies with the magic collar back to his body. And he's able to come to his parents and say, let's meet my boyfriend. And the boyfriend comes over, and he stands there, and they all stand there. And who's the first one to embrace the boyfriend?
Mom. The dad?
The dad goes, brings him in and just hugs him. And it's like, for me, it was like, oh, I'm not gay. But we have this fear of expressing anything. I've been afraid to tell my parents things before.
Sure.
I've held secrets.
Sure.
And we all feel that way.
Expectations, man.
Sometimes, rightfully so, I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone's relationship with their parents should be one where they go to them and trust them. And it's sad if we don't have that. But there are times where maybe you're just so caught up in your own fear that maybe you need to. Maybe find that family member. Why just keep it from mom and dad? Find the aunt, the uncle, the cousin. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. I'm pretty sure when in terms of me going into my relationship, my first relationship, you were the first person I told that was going down. And so it's just find the people in your life that you want to confide in and talk to them. Don't live in fear. And it's unfortunate that people out there feel like they have to do that in any scenario, but especially, in the gay community. So it was a cool short. It was a cool short that, like I said, my thoughts about it, I was like, I want to speak about this.
Yeah, absolute. No, it's a special one. And I don't even think it's their first one of speaking toward that community. And I think it's cool that there are actual people on staff at Pixar that get to do these types of shorts and express these things from their own testimonies or their own stories. So very fire. Similar to the way that Pixar is really good about culture, there's a lot of people that are from specific cultures that get to play a role in the accuracy of the culture of a volcano on lava or the New York City streets in a blue umbrella. So, yeah, bro. I mean, before you do your last, I'll get mine off. My last one is probably my favorite, one of my favorites. I would say like it wrestles for first or second. And that's from Toy Story Toons, which came out after Toy Story 3. They pick up after the toys are in Bonnie's possession. If you listen to our Pixar episode, you know what Toy Story 3 means to me. It is my favorite Pixar film, hands down. I've watched it at least 50, 60 times in my life at this point. It's probably one of my most watched movies ever. So when they released these 4 or 5 shorts on the back end, and it kind of fleshed out this time of the toys in the possession of Bonnie, I watched them and ate them all up. But what was so brilliant about Small Fry, did you see Small Fry or no? What's cool about Small Fry is it's a play on McDonald's because the Small Fry toys are Happy Meal toys. So there's a Buzz Lightyear that is a Happy Meal version of Buzz Lightyear. And as a result of being able to juke Rex into believing that the small Buzz is the real Buzz, there's a switch up. And Buzz ends up being in an almost like an AA meeting in a secret behind like back storage room of a McDonald's, essentially, with all of these other rejected Happy Meal-esque toys. And they're hilarious. There's like a grappling hook toy, and there are these toys that as a kid you remember getting a Happy Meal toy, and it's like certain mechanics or the way that certain toys look that it's like nostalgic, but they play this joke. They definitely stole that charm from like Wreck-It Ralph and that AA meeting that they had in Wreck-It Ralph. Shout out to Disney. But I love this short so much. It's just so fun. Makes you feel like a kid again. And then there's just brilliant dialogue. All of the actual actors came back for all of these shorts, so it really
that.
does feel special. There's a Mini Zurg versus Mini Buzz, the whole playback from Toy Story 2 of I Am Your like they get into the weeds with it. I highly recommend watching it. Watch all of the Toy Story tunes. They're so good. But yeah, man, love this one. I think they call it the Poultry Palace. It's not McDonald's, it's the Poultry Palace. Yeah. But super fire.
That's cool. I mean, like, I need to watch a lot of these shorts. I come on, there's so many out there that unfortunately, like I said, we're not going to be able to get to. You know, it's a shame that the bird line one. I gotta remember what the bird one. We're all on the power lines. You remember which one that was?
Oh yeah, called? Which one is that?
I'm pulling the name up right now. That was called yikes. It was called For the Birds.
For the Birds.
You know, there's For the Birds. There's Jerry's Game where he's playing chess by himself in a park.
That's the old white man, right?
Green. Yes.
The one that looks like somebody's professor.
Exactly.
Shout out to Thomas.
One Man Band. I mean, that one showed off Michael Giacchino and his glorious
that's a good
things.
one.
Mater has a million shorts. Wally had shorts. You know what I'm saying? But
shout outs to Bow. The Bow, I think it's called. I love that one.
They played that one before Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Day and Night. You know, shout outs to all these. But I'm not here to talk about any of them like that. Unfortunately, man. I'm here to talk about 20-something. Have you seen 20-something?
No, bro, I haven't, but I've heard great things about this.
So 20-something was cool as hell to me as someone who just recently turned 24 years old. It follows this girl who goes out to celebrate her 21st birthday with her older sister. She goes out, and the first thing you notice for me was she doesn't look like she's 21. She looks like a child pretending to be 21. But the bodyguard lets her in, and her sister pull up to the bar, and she's like, "Get your drink. You know, we in here tonight." The older sister, and she's like looking at the menu, and she doesn't know how to read, and then she looks over at someone else's drink, and then looks over at a piece of cake, and as she goes to reach for like the piece of cake, you hear like this baby go like, "Man," and so she gets up. She's like, "I need to go to the bathroom," and she goes to the bathroom, and she goes inside of a bathroom stall, and she's wearing this like trench coat. She's like it looks like someone pretending to be an adult, like when you see them stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
When she gets into the bathroom, she takes the trench coat off, and there's a 16-year-old version of herself holding up a 10-year-old version of herself, and then she's holding in her other hand a baby version of herself. And so the three versions of them are together pretending to be this 21-year-old. So they all sit there and they get down and they start debriefing with one another. You need to take charge. You need to do that. Remember when I took charge? I disappointed mom and dad, to the 16-year-old says. You need to take charge. Take charge? I can't even talk to people without getting nervous. The 10-year-old, the baby, they're like, why don't she take charge? She doesn't even know how to communicate. And they're going back and forth, firing off at each other like, we don't know what we're doing. What are we doing here? Like, and it's just those versions. And I'm like, yo, it's just, that's what life really is. And then the sister
they kind of talking
in.
Too. They talking kind of crazy.
Yeah,
too.
The sister comes in and she gives her like a little like motivational speech. Like, you know, it's hard. It is hard entering this stage of life. There's so many unknowns. And all the different versions, the baby, the teenager, the kid, they're all like getting emotional and they're kind of hugging each other. And then they all breathe when the sister's done talking. And then they walk over to the stall door and it pans over the sister on the outside. And when the stall door opens, out walks the 21-year-old looking different. And she's walking by a mirror and you see the all different versions of herself in the mirror just looking back at her. And they all go like thumbs up. And then she goes outside And then everyone in the club, they're in a club. I don't go clubbing. That's not for me. But they're in the club, and this one guy's like, yo, what's good? You feeling like doing something later? And she's like, you wish. And then he turns into a kid. And then it starts showing the different people in the club. And then they all start changing depending on what they're doing, the different versions of themselves in life. And I'm starting to see like, ooh, that's cooking to me as someone who studies the developmental process and the ages of people.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Like,
that's hard.
He denied dude, and he resorted to the child version of himself who, you know, maybe was denied a lot, and he starts crying as the kid. Or she pulled up to the bar and got this, and the person at the bar turned into the rebellious teen. The DJ turned into a child just playing with his like toys. The people that were up on kissing, they were up there kissing, and the dude looked at this one girl and she turned into the jealous teenage girl who smacks him, and he turns into the teenage boy that laughs about it. It's cool. So for me, 20-something was dope as hell as someone in my 20 who's realizing and thinks that other people also need to realize, including some adults, that your life, your history, you don't just change. You are built up by what you experience. And those experiences frame who you are going into the future. Don't let them define you, but let them shape you, because that's what that's what it's meant to be. So
Harold preaching at y'all right now. He talking to y'all souls right now.
It's weird, right? Because like I try to keep this entertainment stuff, but I like this. There's a reason why I went to school for psychology and took it seriously, and I'm in this the field that I'm trying to get into now. I'm trying. So I like that one for that. It showed some things. It made me feel some type of way. It was cool. It was cool.
And stay tuned for more conversations like that from Arrow, because we've got an Inside Out 2 episode that will be making its way to you. And I'm positive that the inner counselor / therapist / family, marriage family therapist that Arrow is going to be, is going to have some things to say about that film. You feel me? If the short didn't give you a little bit of a preview already. But yeah, man, Pixar, y'all are cooking with the shorts. Never stop with the shorts. Keep the shorts coming. I love that this is one of those places like Disney Plus has positive reviews, negative reviews. This is one of those things I'm so grateful for the fact that Disney Plus exists for. I love that we get access to these. In COVID, these were great to watch. These were so great to go back and watch and to reflect on, oh snap, I remember seeing this when I was 8. I remember seeing this when I was 10. This is crazy. They're just as impactful, some would say, as a lot of these movies are. So just want to say thank you to Pixar for those. Thank you to you for listening to another extra here at CUZZO-OP. We'll have more of these coming your way. These are those conversations that just don't fit in the main episode, but we got to get them off our chest. And we got to get them to you. So stay tuned to more of those. And yeah, man, just know every time that you tap in with us here at CUZZO-OP, there's a couple things you'll find. It's 2 cousins, 1 podcast, and endless entertainment. Until next time.